So I've been contemplating putting this audio together regarding some recent personal events that have taken place in my household. And I'm all about transparency, and I've started these projects for others to share their stories and transparency, things like that. So I feel like I should probably live up to some of these concepts here. So um, I where to start? And this is another thing I've been just rolling around in my head, trying to just see what my approach is going to be in talking about this, because there's so many facets right now, and it's really shown me how mixed up we are as just as a species right now, on some subjects in our society, at least. I won't say like it's pretty much affected the entire world. Let's put it like that. And it's affecting our tribal worlds right now also, the Aborigines, some of the stories that I've heard. I went in to get tested after having some symptoms that were not going away, and after treating myself with all the immunity boosting supplements that I have and that I've heard about, and eating healthy, doing intermittent fasting, taking the Max GXL, glutathione, a lot of vitamin C, vitamin D, all these things that are already out there for us to boost our natural immune systems. And nothing really seemed to work. Things were lingering. I'd been working some really long hours, 12-hour shifts. And I caught myself in this whirlwind of doing back-to-back 12-hour shifts, and that's when things really sank rapidly. And I will say also that I have been doing a new job that is working more up close and personal with the public, and that is taxi cab driving service. It's called Z-Trip out here in the Springs. So, and that's when the symptoms actually started, was when I started that job, probably, I want to say about 2 weeks in. And this is picking up a wide range of people in society, anywhere from homeless, which mainly it was people that were homeless in between halfway houses, even sometimes picking up people directly at the jail that had just been released. It wasn't all these types of passengers, there's a wide variety, but there was kind of pronounced feel that was the main traffic, that you try to go to different zones and different areas after so many times of having your back seat kind of, no offense, and this is not to be judgmental, but just kind of fumigating, and wide variety of smells that people would kind of leave. So yeah, just working up close and personal, and I did disinfect my cab and stayed clean, kept the Clorox wipes, wore the mask occasionally. No, I did not wear the mask that frequently at all. If it was somebody at the hospital, if it was an elderly person that was wearing a mask, came in the car, very concerned about COVID, I would put on a mask. And this is interesting because I'm listening to the wide range of audience of people that I know, mainly leaning towards COVID being a conspiracy. And it's a very colorful array of different theories that are out there, ranging from COVID is not real at all to, the tests. Some people believe that the tests themselves will give you COVID. There's other facets of theories of people that are believing that COVID is real and that it was intentionally released and that it's gene therapy, or that the vaccines are actually a gene therapy. Seen some interesting information on that. Actually, recently with the interview I just did with Arrow Ananda that we just did earlier today. So I don't go into doctors. I don't do these things. I usually am able to get myself out of um, any type of bug that I pick up. It usually doesn't hang out for that long, and it's been years since I've had something that just lingered and did not go away. Now, this mixed with the fact that I was working so many hours so consecutively, never worked that much in my life, and somehow the energies were going backwards to where I was making less somehow. I don't know how that worked out. And I just got caught up in it, like, oh no, I got to work my day off now because I'm not making enough. And it was an interesting dimension to be in, to see all this money come in, but then kind of equally go out. And so that was interesting. And I kind of had to regroup from that and just pause. And then I eventually went back to food delivery. I was like, well, this just isn't working. And it got to where just had an interesting message there. Basically, it got to where I've still got multiple things going on with individuals that did not pay their fare. I got scammed. Business investor, scam artist guy. It's really dumb of me. I was just getting caught up on a lot of things, and then I invested in this whole thing. Now we're in small claims court. There's a police report out on another guy, and ongoing processes that were just weighing me down from the job itself. And so I had to take a few steps back and look at this like, wow, I'm putting this much time and effort and energy into this job that I obviously really enjoyed at the same time. Like, it became almost a passion as I developed personal clients and people that I would pick up regularly that I chose to make that arrangement with. Give them your card and you get to know people that you have synchronicities with or get along well with. So it became interesting. It became an interesting job in that sense. But when the symptoms did not go away, and there was such a range of symptoms that kicked on, the one that was lingering was just a really nasty sinus infection that was beginning to move into upper respiratory. And that's when I checked myself in, because I was, honestly, my mom passed away from COVID. And when she described some of the things that she was going through after she got it, it kind of shook me a little. I knew that there was something going on with her, that there was something real about this. She wasn't in the best health before, but after contracting COVID, it was something shifted, and I felt it. And it kind of put something in my head that, okay, this is something that I need to acknowledge that is real, even though there's a lot of people that I know that think it's a hoax. I've come to the conclusion myself that it is not a hoax, that it's real. This was something that I had not experienced before, and people give descriptions of it being a nasty flu. I think it's going to be different for everybody. For me, it was just like my smell went away, my taste and smell. When that happened, it kind of switched something in me, because that hasn't happened since, I can't even remember, probably when I was little and used to get nasty colds and stuff and mucousy. But the thing with this was the sinus infection started to clear, and I could feel it draining and starting to move into my upper lungs. And that's when the taste and smell went away and didn't come back. And, I could breathe through my nostrils and breathe clearly. Sinuses are clear and everything. And there's not a intact sense of smell anymore like there was before. That still has yet to come back. I was able to enjoy the Thanksgiving dinner that we had. And the meals that I prepared, went all out this year, Thanksgiving, just cooked all kinds of different plates, casseroles and stuff. And it's another thing that this has given me is some time with the whole 10-day, 14-day quarantine thing. It gave me back the time that I was missing with my kids and reconnecting. And I'd just been so disconnected and aware of the disconnection and working on it, but just kind of trapped into having to work these long hours and to keep us afloat. So I don't know what that was about. I was already doing good with food delivery and started this, but I'm looking to rebalance that now. So I took all the stuff for COVID. I made the homemade hydroxychloroquine. Beautiful friends that helped me through the process and actually sent me things in the mail, like some minerals, zinc drops, and a lot of different types of minerals, and also quinine. I don't know how to pronounce it, quinine or quinine, Quinine, and those are capsules. And another form of NAC, acetyl. Let's see how to pronounce this. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's L-cysteine. And I was already taking that with Max GXL, which is like assists with the synthesis of glutathione. It's like a master antioxidant for the body. And I'd already been taking Max GXL, but I started this other product similar to it, and that just felt like a real boost. Also, the homemade hydroxychloroquine, which I made out of the grapefruits and lemon peels, you just boil it and let it boil for about 3 hours with water, like a cup of water. And after it's done boiling, you just pour that juice, which is extremely potent and really bitter and very mucus dissolving. That stuff started to give me my smell back and taste, and it was first taste that came back, and now it feels like the smell thing's kind of flickering. So it's been interesting. It's given me a lot of perspective. There's a lot of help that's out there for people that get COVID. That's one thing that was very noticeable. Like rental assistance is huge. That they feel like it feels like they've got my back. It's like I applied for it. It was just really easy application. Just submitted it, and it feels like it's all good to go. I'm still, going to confirm everything tomorrow, obviously, on during the week, and see where that's at. But everybody is, from what I've read about the assistance, everybody's been receiving it right away. And there's also potential for, a lot of small business help, independent contractor help too. So it's been like this other dimension. Reality's kind of opened up financially. And on top of that, my job also is offered compensation. So that's been really nice to be able to do that. Some bills I had to pay, just put it on hold. So it's like all the corporates are kind of intermingled with this COVID compensation type thing. It's another thing I've learned through this experience. It's been interesting. I'm not sure what else really that's noteworthy to add, other than it's been life-changing in ways that you may not think would be life-changing for somebody who got COVID. It's given me my life back with my kids. And I was explaining earlier to a friend, like when you take vacations, even with vacations, you've got to plan and schedule and put all this together. This this was like not even a vacation. It was like a pause. It was like a space and time for me to stop everything guilt-free, not worrying about money, not worrying about having to go back to work, anything like that, because I couldn't go back to work legally. So it's like it changed something mentally with me, this experience, and there was just so much that it gave me back and gave my kids back. And I think there was some real transmutation, energy, alchemy stuff that was happening with that. And it's kind of been like that from the start when COVID started. It helped me actually get out of debt because of some of the SBA loans that they offer for small business, and some of the loans are actually forgivable to where you don't have to pay them back. You do some paperwork and then they just take it all off. So that's been my experience with COVID. It lasted probably the better part of a month, I think, from day one of the symptoms. And going in to get tested, here's another thing too. So the test thing, and explaining this to friends has been kind of interesting, tiptoeing around the subject and like, oh my God, you got to test. It's so when I went in for the symptoms, they weren't pushy about it, and that's what made it more comfortable. And I wasn't planning on getting tested. I didn't go in with that intention, but when I sat there and talked to the guy on a human level, he said, we've been using these for the past couple months. There's only been like 2 people that tested positive, as I get tests all the time. It wasn't the eye socket test. It was the menthol quick something test. I'd have to check the paper, but it's like a 4-second swab inside the nostril, and not up inside the nostril or anything like that. So it wasn't that invasive either, and came back like in 10 minutes. The doctor gave me my papers, so that you've got COVID and you need to quarantine. And she said the smell might take sense of taste and smell might take a while to come back. That's been completely normal with people to lose their smell and taste from COVID. So that was an interesting deal. Because like I said, I hadn't lost my sense of smell or taste for, I can't even remember when. So the day that I was diagnosed with it was on the 15th November, and it was, just contact all my jobs and let them know. And after, when all the paperwork's said and done, and you're kind of sitting there like, I have absolutely nothing to do. Like, I can't leave the house. I can't go out. I can't do anything. Which obviously you could still do curbside and pickups like that, which is what I did. Did some Instacarts at first. That got really expensive really fast, so I just did curbsides for the Thanksgiving food and ingredients and stuff. And that was like, I wore my mask, and just because I didn't want anybody else contracting it. And that's another consciousness that I entered into, because with the taxi job, I never wore the mask. I was never really concerned about it. And I guess there are a few more things to add to this that may be noteworthy, is that it became very noticeable, the people that were vaxxed and vigilant about the vax and wearing the masks and the hazmat stuff, and just coming into the cab like, have you been vaxxed? Like, when are you getting your booster? Just almost like religious. And that started to wear on me, to the point where I could almost like feel out the people that were going to do it, and the frequency shift that was going to happen in the cab itself and with the air, and starting to get headaches, which I never get headaches. And there is a shedder theory out there, and that's something that's kind of come to my attention with this whole experience. Was I was literally starting to pick up symptoms almost in real time with some individuals that would get in the cab and just be nonstop talking about them getting their booster and just how everybody needs to be vaccinated and why are people fighting this stuff. The people that were doing that, it was just noticeable broadcasting and transmitting that was happening onto me. And aside from it being shed onto me or what, that was enough, and I would get literal headaches and neck aches and stuff. And there was some kind of shift that was happening, my fields and stuff, that I could kind of feel something that was trying to come in. And when you're giving people rides, sometimes they've got multiple stops and you got to wait and you're just kind of stuck for a little bit. And some people would kind of cling on like that and just like, just kind of pushy in that sense. So that was something interesting to note. The test itself, after I got tested, there was some, I had woken up before, and usually this time of year I do because of how thin the air gets, with a little bit of asthma type stuff, shortness of breath. When I had it, knowing that I had COVID and waking up with that, which I had maybe 2 mornings that I woke up like that, and actually doctor was really nice about giving me an inhaler, which I never used. Just kind of sitting there. I didn't have to use it or anything. I know those are loaded with all kinds of weird stuff too. There was some kind of mental thing that came with that. The people that have died from it and the respiratory thing and oh my God, I got COVID stuff. Just the meme field and the schema field stuff that you go through. And dissolving that, I guess, and maybe almost seeing how people can take routes where they would go into anxiety attacks and panic attacks over things like that, just because of all the hysteria and things that are being pounded on us on a daily basis and broadcasted. It is difficult. It can be difficult to get stuck in that, and I was strong enough not to. It felt like there was some kind of mental warfare almost that was trying to start up with that, with all the programs that are being run. And I think it's something I needed to experience, I needed to, maybe that's why I even did the job, the Z-Trip job, was to get it and stuff. I'm just so thankful to have my old job back and do food delivery, appreciate my own space in my own car and having the windows down and just enjoying the scenery and just doing quick pickups and drop-offs. And that is such a huge blessing to me now. I'm so much in gratitude to go back to work in that atmosphere. And I don't know if I will return to the other job. I was thinking about balancing it out, maybe just a couple days a week or something. But it's been an interesting experience. Hopefully this sheds some light for some people. The schools have been very laid back as far as Mason. They said, I tested negative on, what was it, Friday? It was on Friday I got tested again. Decided to go back in. It had been over 10 days, so it's all done. And the doctors, I got to know the community in the sense that the doctors are really laid back. She's like, you don't need to get tested again, and you've got strong antibodies, and that's a good thing about getting COVID is you don't have to get vaxxed. You can show that you already had it, and you've got the antibodies, you're still alive, So and maybe that's another reason why I needed to get it, because in the future they may enforce vaccines, and I can just... I've got the papers showing that I already had it, and I've tested negative. And she said they will not allow you to get tested again after until 3 months. So, it's really laid back out here, and they were just I asked the lady when I first got the positive test, what do you guys treat it with? What do you use to treat it? She's like, nothing. It's like, we don't treat it. We don't offer any type of treatment, nothing like that. And that was that felt really good, to know that I live in a community that's not all zapped with the program and the paranoia and stuff. Even the schools, like Mason's school, they said just send him back. He's fine on Monday. So yeah, it's been eye opening for me, the whole experience, and I just wanted to share and let people know. The kind of little more recluse online, and doing Arrow's interview, it felt like it's kind of kick-starting maybe a next thread of interviews also that might be coming up. And hope everybody's doing good. If you've had any COVID experiences yourself, I would love to hear about it and your perspective. And this is how we are informed, just by our own experiences, and kind of putting all the pieces together and sharing and talking and seeing how things affected us on these personal levels. I think that's really important right now.